Hi folks, welcome back to another Sorare video on all things the contender divisions. If you haven't watched my last couple of videos over the last week or so, please go back and check it out. One is on how I build my lineups, the other one is on my J-League, K-League transition. So I'm starting to move out of the European cards and starting to invest, probably not the right word to use on Sorare, but starting to pick up J-League in particular players for this March until November, December period. So this video mainly will be a lineup builder for the upcoming weekend. We'll build some contender teams. We'll have a little bit of a preview on the game week. We'll have a look at the spreadsheet. We will have a look at Sorare data, ratings. But before I get into it, I'll just show you the players that I've picked up over the last couple of days. Again, as you can see, very much planning ahead for the summer. We sold Ezekiel Barco last week for £175. So as you can see, most of that has been spent, and it's been spent on in-season cards. So picked up Jan Mateus, a forward from Yokohama. Very happy to pick him up for that price. Hasn't done so much this season yet. I'll just show you. This is kind of what I try and do when I'm picking up a player. I'd like to be, towards the bottom of the price graph rather than, buying him at the peak. So, he started out at about £120, £130 back at the start of February. I picked him up for £39. Now, he might go a little bit lower, but I don't expect it to go much lower because he's a good player and can certainly put up good scores. So that was just an example there of a chart, and that's what I like. I think that's what we all want from our, Sorare data charts. You want to try and buy low and then sell high. It's not easy to sell high, but of course you can then reinvest into the rest of the gallery. So picked up Jan Mateus. I picked up Mateus Castro again. So this is my second purchase of Mateus Castro. I just thought £25. I'll probably try and flip that and get 40, 45, but I don't mind having two of them if need be. Shiatani, another Sanfrecce defender. I've got a classic. Picked up his in-season for £13. I thought that was pretty good. Nakatani's injured at Gamba, but I've got the Gamba goalkeeper, and I like the Nakatani Ishimori defensive stack when he's fit again. So again, I was quite happy to pay £15 and just wait for him to come back to fitness. Elsewhere, picked up my first rare in-season FC Seoul player, and I expect to pick up a few more. We looked at the watch list in the last video. Players like Lingard, the defender Sung, Ki Sung Young, maybe even the goalkeeper are on my radar. I'd like to get a bit of a soul stack going. So I've started with Choi Jun, the right back. He can score well. £20 again. I'm going to get months and months out of this guy. And for 20 quid for someone that can score well, as you can see, most recent game week put up an 88 without any decisive actions. There's a 65 in there. There's a 78. So again, I just like the value I'm seeing in these J-League and K-League players, given that they've only played 3, 4, 5 games of the season so far. So that's Choi Jun. Who else have we got since the last video? Let me make sure all of this is visible. A couple of non-Asian league players. I picked up the Dusseldorf attack and stack of Johannesson, who I had earlier in the season. Takes set pieces, takes penalties. And I picked up the striker Kaunaki as well, who's been scoring well this season for 15. The reason I picked up those two is because 2 of their next 3 fixtures are pretty favourable. So I quite like those. So they're at home this weekend against Regensburg, who I think might be bottom of the table. International break then, not too bothered about that. Away to Kaiserslautern is not a great fixture. But then the Dusseldorf boys have another home game against Preußen Münster, who are also near the bottom of Bundesliga 2. So picked up those two guys with those 2 games in mind. I'm not buying too many European guys at the moment, but some of them I think are still important and can still be useful and will hopefully win us some rewards. Elsewhere, again, I've just kind of been going through the watch list and picking up as many of the guys on there as possible. Matthias Tuller, we talked about in the last video, centre back from VCL Kobe. They lost 3-0 today. But again, long term, I like him as an option. Another defender that can score well. and hopefully will be part of the gallery for the full J-League season. Martin Baturina, I've owned this guy quite a few times this season, flipped him a few times, used him quite often in lineups, and again it's a fixtures play because Zagreb have good fixtures, I think, for the rest of the season, but certainly in the short term. Home game this weekend against Lokomotiv Zagreb, international break, then they come back to Varadin, Istra and Osijek, none of which are big hitting teams. So Baturina will be in my in-season lineups for the next couple of game weeks. And if I need to keep him long-term, don't mind that at all. He'll probably get a move in the summer, but might become part of my under-23 strategy for the next European season. Also picked up a new goalkeeper. I think he plays in Argentina. For one reason only, he's got a ball in his hands. So he must be a good keeper. He's obviously just made a save there. Not very often you see a Sorare card like that. But this guy is scoring well since he's got back in the team. I'll just show you. So there you have it. What's that? 5 green scores out of 6, including a 90 in there. Scroll through social media. Fans seem to be happy with him. Seems to be playing well. So took the plunge again. 30 quid for an in-season goalkeeper. Loads of utility. Just felt like a pretty easy, low-risk purchase. I think last time we spoke about Sakai last time. Paradela I picked up recently as well. I had a classic Paradela, but I was keen to get an in-season. So these Mexican guys are in-season for a little bit longer. I think for at least as long as the European season. I'm not exactly sure when the Mexican guys will get new cards, and this one, for example, will then become classic. But for now, he's in-season. He's smashing it. As you can see, he's on a run of 6 games, attacking returns in 8 of his last 9 fixtures. He's taken corners, he's taken free kicks, he's taken penalties for Necaxa. I've got Pallavicino as well from the same team, but Paradela is the main man at the moment. So that's it for the gallery in terms of new signings. Sold a few players, sold a few more classics, Cal McGregor and a few others. Just, again, very much transitioning out of classic cards that will be classic soon in terms of the European guys, and trying to move across to the in-season guys for the summer. Japan, Korea, Argentina, and I'm sure hopefully we'll get Rosenborg cards soon. Had quite a few of those guys last season, like Broholm, etc. Selnes in midfield. I'd like to get a few of them when they come out as well, which I think the Norwegian League starts in about 2 weeks' time. So keep an eye out for that as well. Probably should start trying to save a few bob for that also. But let's do a bit of a preview now for the Contender division for the upcoming weekend. So I'm back over on the Sorare probabilities spreadsheet, database, whatever you want to call it. They very kindly sent me an updated version from the last video. So there's actually some nice new additions to this where you can see set piece takers, etc. If you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, they're very, very handy. I find it very useful. Go to Sorare probabilities on X. I don't know if they're active anywhere else. I'll probably just start putting a link to it in the description to the videos, because I'm sure some of you will want to start using it. So this is set to Contender Gameweek 62. Just to have a quick look at which teams have the best win percentages in the upcoming weekend. So a couple of teams there in Ecuador, I think it is. We've got Cruz Azul in Argentina, I'm pretty sure 77%. Rapid Vienna have a good matchup this weekend, but they are playing in Europe on Thursday night, so there could be a bit of rotation there. Elsewhere, we have Servette in Switzerland with a good home fixture. Dynamo Zagreb have a good matchup. Hearts in Scotland have a good one. I'll be using goalkeeper Gordon and striker Lawrence Shankland in some of my lineups. And then we're getting down the list towards Boca Juniors are there, Elversberg in Germany as well, and Sanfrecce have a good home fixture also. So I've got the likes of Shosasaki, Shiatani, Rayo Germain, who got sent off today in the Asian Champions League. Don't think that affects his league game time, but I'll double check that, of course, before the weekend. So let me jump into my players. A nice feature here as well, I can click on team fixtures, and this just shows the teams that I have players from. I missed out on Tigres there right at the top. Tigres are the best rated team among players that I own this weekend. They have a 79% win percentage. So players like Aquino, Brunetta, etc. are going to be in my lineups as well. But they also played midweek, so need to be, and keep a close eye out on team news to see if there'll be any rotation after that one. Brunetta scored 100 midweek. If only he could have done that last week, I would have been looking at, in a much better position in season Division 1. So let's build a couple of teams. Let's start with the goalkeepers. I have this week in season. I think I got 2 relegations last week, unfortunately. I still have one Division 1 team, and I think I'm in Division 1, Division 2 and Division 3 of in-season. So one shot at the big prizes. And then in the classic rare teams, I still have 3 Division 1 lineups. So we'll build 1 or 2 teams. And of course, I'll end up changing these 100 times before the weekend anyway. Well, let's build an in-season Division 1 team. So this is going to be the main team for the weekend. Let's see what we're looking at in terms of Sorare data ratings and the Sorare probability. So let's start with the goalkeeper. Like last week, Gw62 is showing up quite highly. Home fixture against Niigata. That's a good one as far as I know. On the spreadsheet, Gw62 also rates quite highly. He's my second highest rated in-season goalkeeper. Ishimori plays away from home. You can see there, clean sheet percentage for Gw62, 45%, whereas Ishimori's is only 24%. So Gw62 will be going into the top lineup this week. I think he was in one of my in-season Division 1 teams last week. And he did the business with a clean sheet, so he keeps his place for this one. Next up, I have filtered this by in-season cards, so we'll do the in-season guys first. Let me just filter this one as well to in-season cards only. And then we'll pick the classic guy last on this occasion. So Liam Scales at the top there, but he probably won't start for Celtic. Johannes Handel at Austria Vienna, missed out last week with an injury. Sriracha rarely starts these days. So the top 3 I will be avoiding in my priority lineup. John Joe Kenny is rated quite highly, but he is away from home. Clean sheet percentage is only 30%. I'm looking down here, and I do like Sho Sasaki at home. Good fixture, good matchup. And he is also the top rated one here on Sorare data matchups. But then I could go for the Gw62 Shoji double up, and I do like defensive double ups. Shoji here actually has a 61, exactly the same as Sho Sasaki. So I think in that case, we go for the defensive stack from the same team, Shoji, Gw62, and that is our building blocks for this in-season Division 1 lineup. Next up, midfielders. We want, I don't know, it should be filtering to in-season only. I don't know why the Celtic boys are showing up here. Maybe just because they're so good. Martin Baturina has an 80 projected score here. Brunetta 79. So it's probably between those two guys. Baturina again, highest rated here on Sorare data. AAA. Brunetta seems to be down the list a bit. Let's have a look where he is. He's rated as a B here, but I think that's probably because the predicted lineup is not on Sorare data yet for Tigres. So that B rating will probably jump up to a AA, maybe even a AAA by Thursday night, Friday morning. But at the moment, I bought Baturina for the fixtures, and I think he's going to go into my top lineup this game week, and he might even get the captain's armband. Next up, we're looking for a forward. Anderson Lopez scored, I think he scored a brace midweek in the continental competition. I think it was the Asian Champions League or one of those. Shankland at Hearts has a good fixture, but he hasn't scored a lot of goals this season. Lavadia away to Rijeka. I don't like that fixture too much. I'm actually trying to sell him at the moment. Nicholas Kuhn is an option at home to Rangers, but it's not an easy fixture, even though we're going to win it easily. On paper, it's not an easy fixture. Simon Murray is away to Dundee United. Don't really like that for a top lineup. I could go for Kaunaki from Dusseldorf, playing bottom of the league. Jan Mateus, who just joined the gallery, at home to Gamba. And Jota's there as well from Celtic, who's obviously always a good option. Let's see what Sorare probabilities is suggesting. Kaunaki, Dusseldorf striker, as my in-season. 74 projected score. Shanklin 58. So I don't love those. So let's have a look at some of the classic. Let's look at the classic forwards. Let's look at all the classics actually, just to see which of them are coming out the highest this week. So Trusty at Celtic, projected score of 100 here. Carter Vickers 92. I think they're probably inflated a wee bit, to be honest. When it is a Rangers fixture, anything can happen. Both teams can certainly score. So I don't rate the Celtic defenders as highly this week as I would in other game weeks. But that doesn't mean they might, they still could make it into one of my priority lines. Probably more so the classic ones than the in-season. Who else have we got here? Engels projected 98. Hector Herrera 86 if he plays. Shaqiri's on a 73. Fabian Rees is on 89. Dominic Fitz 86. So I do think I want to put the classic card as my forward, which is often the case because my in-season forwards are not overly strong. So let me change this to all cards just to see if it syncs up with the likes of Dominic Fitz and Fabian Rees. And yeah, straight away, the two of them are both at the top of the list here. Dominic Fitz number 1, Fabian Rees number 2, which matches up with Sorare probabilities, 89 and 86. Dominic Fitz is usually my go-to man, my go-to captain. He did the business last week, plays against Wattens, who are 10th in the league. Rees has a very good fixture as well against Braunschweig, so I think that's a very close call. But usually Dominic Fitz is the one that I lean towards. And as much as I like Baturina this week, I'm going to give Dominic Fitz the captain's armband. So let's just fill out this team. We need to go back to in-season. Let me press apply. And let's see who gets the final position. So we could go Sho Sasaki. We almost put him into the defensive spot anyway. Elsewhere, we could go Lee Gi-hyuk at Gangwon, isn't it? Yeah, playing at home to Seoul. Pallavicino or Paradella could go in here. Good home fixture for Necaxa as well. Halstenberg away to Schalke. Don't love that. Shanklin could go in here. But let's go over and have a quick look at the document and see what comes out on top here. So Baturina we've used. Brunetta 79 probably goes in here. Unless there's a defender. No, there isn't a defender that I'm confident in for minutes that is better than Brunetta's projection. So like I said, towards the end of the week, I expect to see Brunetta much closer to the top of this Sorare data lineup builder. But let me go and find him, plug him in. That, to me, looks like a very good team. Don't think you can see that. Let me just go back up here. Yeah. Dominic Fitz captain, Juan Brunetta, Martin Baturina, and then the defensive stack of Tani and Shoji. That seems pretty good to me. Is that a team that can win? I think it is. Still haven't had my first big win, so hopefully it's going to come in the near future. But it's nice now to be able to start betting in some of these J-League and K-League guys. Hopefully they help us get some results before the European season ends. And then by the time, the way I'm thinking is a lot of people will go and buy J-League, K-League cards in May, June, July. And I will already have, an XP head start on those from having used them in some of these tournaments. So let's see how this team does at the weekends. I'll keep an eye out on team news for Tigres in particular. Let's build very quickly. Let's build a classic team. And this time I will just use Sorare data just to make it a little bit quicker. And then we will wrap it up for this week. Goalkeeper. I know from the straight away Ander Quintero. I only bought Ander Quintero for just so I had a goalkeeper for a midweek game week last week or the week before, and he's done really well in the last 2 games, and he's now my top rated classic goalkeeper for this weekend on both platforms. So I may end up keeping him, even though I'm trying to sell him at the moment. I probably should just keep him given that he's a AAA rating here. Got a good matchup. Classic defender, I probably will end up using some of the Celtic guys in classic Division 1 lineups rather than in-season lineups. Midfielder, Shaqiri's got a good game this week at home to Young Boys. I mean, it's not an easy fixture, but Shaqiri is Shaqiri. We know what he can do. Wanacek I probably like more. He's at home to Ulm, who are 17th in the league. Wanacek is an absolute Sorare monster. So I think he'll get a shout in one of my in-season teams as well. Wanacek might even make it as a classic in one of my in-seasons rather than this classic team. Got to be Fabian Rees here. He almost went into the in-season Division 1. Again, these players might end up making it as the classic in-season Division 2 or Division 3 teams. Gautier Hein is always a good option. Paulinho, I've got 2 of them at the moment. I'm trying to sell one if anyone's interested. One of them is on the market. Yuma Suzuki, good matchup at home to Urawa. I've got Chiara from Kashima as well. Shanklin is definitely going to be in a team somewhere. I've got a classic and an in-season, so I'll keep this one for the in-season and use the other one in classic. But for now, Fabian Rees goes in here. And making up the lineup probably should be Shaqiri. Is there anyone else? Yeah, no, we used Wanacek already. Paradela I'm quite keen on this weekend. Where is he? Canales is always a good option as well. Often some of the best cards can be hidden down this list sometimes, so it's always, you always got to be careful. There's Cecilia, for example. He's only rated as an A, but in my mind he's a AA or a AAA. He's playing at home. What is that fixture? I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm just going to plug Cecilia in there because whenever he plays, he's got to be in one of the priority lineups. Now I do think he's lost penalties possibly to Bruno Lamas, his fellow Brazilian. So that's slightly concerning. So again, I'll come back to these teams Thursday night, Friday morning when I'm going to lock them in. But just wanted to give you an idea of the guys that I'm looking to use in some of the top lineups this weekend. Predictify, as always, another great resource if you're looking for predicted lineups. There's the Austria Vienna one, for example. Dominic Fitz, 90% to play. That's what we like to see. But yeah, there we have it. Another video. We're on a roll. I think I've done 3 videos in a week. So let's try and keep this up. It won't be 3 videos a week, but if I could do at least 1 video a week, 2 ideally would be ideal. Yeah, no rewards video on Tuesday because there was nothing to shout about. Did I get anything? I think a bit of essence, some XP, a limited card worth 50p. I always forget to talk about limiteds. Before I go, I'll just build a very quick limited team because I do have limiteds as well, and I always enter 3. I always enter 3 in season and 3 classic limited lineups as well. So let's quickly have a look at the options for Contender in season limited. Division 1. I've got at least 1 Division 1 team, and what I will do here is I will filter it to limited cards only to give you an idea of what players I have available. Now, of course, we can use rares in this as well, which I usually do, but I do have some good limited cards. I've got a couple of Celtic collections, which make up the most part. So, goalkeeper in season, what have we got? We've got Salinger, we've got the Tigres goalkeeper Guzman. I probably will go Guzman because they've got that 79% win percentage and a good clean sheet percentage as well. I'm looking here for in-season guys. Probably would go, again, Tigres defensive stack, given the numbers that we've just seen. In-season midfielder, it could be Ki Sung Young, it could be a Celtic midfielder. I've got an in-season Seoul limited stack. So I've got the goalkeeper Kang, I've got Sung, I've got Ki Sung Young, I've got one, and I've got Lingard. So I'll keep those together for a second limited team. So I'm going to keep the Sol guys out of this one, and I'll probably keep the Celtic guys together as well. So I'll probably have a Tigres stack, or maybe 4 Tigres players, and then a kicker, a Celtic stack, and a Sol stack when it comes to limited. I don't really like 5-man stacks that much. I like to differentiate somewhere, and I usually like my captain to be the one player that's not part of the stack. So for example, I think I do have the Tigres striker Ibanez, but I don't like him that much. Doesn't score fantastically well. So I'm looking here at someone like Isak Janssen at Rapid Vienna, who've got a good fixture. Jesse Lingard I'll keep for another lineup. And again, it's probably Shankland here. So that's classic. So I might use the classic Shankland here. He might get captained, although very hard not to captain Brunetta. He is on fire at the moment. So then I need another in-season. I probably want to keep the Celtic and Sol guys together. So I probably am looking at someone like Pallavicino then. Do I have an in-season Paradela limited? Something tells me that I don't. Maybe that's something I should buy before the weekend, because I do like Paradela slightly more than Pallavicino now, but they're both good options. So there is a limited lineup that I'll probably have at the weekend. Triple Tigres, maybe Brunetta gets the armband, and then Pallavicino and Shankland. So there's going to be good lineups going out all over the place this weekend. And I do put a lot of effort into particularly Division 1 in-season contender, because there's still good prizes in there. Some very good cash prizes if you can get a podium, and that can then feed into buying more rare cards. So it's not something they're not really throwaway lineups. And I do buy limited cards from time to time. I probably haven't done it for a while. Yeah, it's mostly rares at the moment. But yeah, I don't. Important not to ignore the limited guys. You'll see there at the bottom a couple of auctions. I was trying to get Kim Jin-soo, another FC Seoul defender, but I'm not willing to go above 54. That one's actually just ended. Jasir Asani did very well today. I think it was in the Asian Champions League. He's been scoring very well. People were getting him for about 20 quid in season, and I'm struggling to get one under 30 quid now. So I might just let that one pass by. I don't want to overpay. I will leave it there, folks, for the video. As always, on Twitter on Thursday night, Friday morning, I'll put out a tweet for team news. Check out Sorare Probabilities. Follow my Sorare Contender Twitter accounts. What else? Sorare Data is great. Predictify is great. Sorare is great. I'd love to see more comments on the videos. Any comments about what was in the videos you would like to see, any more of my thought process. I won't do the watch list every video, because it takes a week or two for it to kind of change. I buy some, add some more, remove some, etc., etc. So I won't get repetitive on that. But yeah, all feedback welcome in the comment section. What I will say as well, if any of you are watching and you're good at doing graphics, particularly YouTube graphics, now it doesn't have to be fantastic, but as you can see, my YouTube graphics are absolutely terrible, and they could do with a makeover. So if you fancy spending 5 or 10 minutes, mocking up some graphics for me, feel free to reach out, and that would be very much appreciated, because we need to get things looking a little bit healthier around here, and a little bit more 2025 rather than 1995. Thank you for listening, folks. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Give it a share on social media as well if you enjoy it. And good luck for the game week. I hope to see you near the top of the leaderboard alongside me. I hope you come second, and I hope I come first. We'll talk to you again next week with more content.